Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Lederer, the founder, chairman, and CEO of MADTECHAI. I've got with me John Morey. John is the president of Culture Comp, and he and I and our staffs have been working very closely together for a few months to put together not only this webinar, but a considerable amount of work. Good morning, John.
Morning, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about this. So you and I have a fair amount of nonprofit experience in our getting together, courtesy of one of our mutual clients in the cultural attraction industry. We've tried to assemble the best of things that we've been working on separately for a few years and bringing them together, and really looking forward to digging in, talking about the challenges that are near and dear to both of us, and specifically how mission-driven organizations, often with limited resources, make smarter, faster, more confident marketing and engagement decisions. So, John, you looking forward to digging in?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, doke. All right. So to begin with, I wanted to let you all know, for those of you that are not familiar with the phrase MADTECH or MADTECH.AI, MADTECH stands for Marketing, Advertising, Data Analytics Technology. And as you can see, MADTECH.AI is an AI-based solution. We're going to talk much more about that. And in particular, want to cover our own backgrounds. John, you've been at this for a long time. Tell us about yourself and Culture Comp.
Sure. Well, I started in this business 31 years ago, I guess 1995. During that time, we've worked with probably more than 500 cultural attractions and 50 nonprofits. And basically what we are is a data-driven company. People like to call us consultants, but I'd like to say we're not really consultants, because we don't ever make a decision without having some data around it. So we're more data decision-driven company, and we do surveys and focus groups and comparative analytics and collect data for benchmarking on 800 plus cultural attractions in the US. And so basically what we do is help our clients, if they're a cultural attraction, increase attendance, optimize membership, maximize revenue. In the nonprofit sector, it's how do you get more donors? How do you get them to donate more? How do you acquire new ones? How do you retain the ones you've had? What are maybe benefit structures that might exist that move them up the level? All those types of things.
Excellent. So heard about you for a while. Know that this is a deep expertise for you, and very much have appreciated the months that we've spent together working on trying to figure out how we can put together our resources. On our part, MADTECH.AI is more of a tools provider to the industry, although our own background is the last 11 years of hardcore consulting and managed services to the industry around media, marketing, data analytics, very deep dive on helping to fix data, understand it, a lot of data modeling and data visualization. In our case, we've worked with both for-profit and not-for-profit organizations, a lot of work around supporting ticketing, for example, and membership advancement. But this is the goal here is to see if we can bring together the best of both organizations for the purpose of helping nonprofits and cultural attractions to make better decisions. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Speaking of which, here's the agenda. So we'll talk to you about the unique challenges that this market faces. What is marketing decision intelligence specifically? Introducing MADTECH.AI, including kind of a deeper dive on what those capabilities are, a live demo, and then Q&A at the end. This should take us less than an hour, and we intend to be able to share this online, both on our website and on YouTube, as of this coming Monday. So stay tuned. Much more to come over the course of less than an hour. So thank you for joining us. So what you should expect to learn today, and what we're going to cover specifically, is to take a look at sort of what's going on operationally in order to be able to improve the performance of the organizations that are using these tools. Specifically, can we help you to increase attendance and visitation to be able to optimize membership and lifetime value, to drive greater revenue growth, and to do so in very data-driven ways. The intent here is to be able to make this very practical, and where we're going to help you to advance the mission of the organization in ways that should be very efficient and effective. So there are challenges here that are being faced. And specifically, nonprofits and cultural attractions are challenged by a lack of data or data analytics. This impacts goal setting, strategy development, and tactical implementation. And this is both a strategic challenge and a tactical challenge. And the goal is to try to bring together very specific kinds of data, which is coming from culture comp, and it may be data that's coming from your own organization into our system, which we'll talk about, and to be able to address those challenges in very direct ways. So what do those challenges include? Well, the first and foremost from our experience at MADTECHAI is siloed, disconnected, and unusable data. We have found that in virtually 100% of the companies and organizations that we've worked with for the last 11 years, data is a very challenging topic, and starting with the underlying databases that organizations are working with. And so the goal here is to be able to directly affect, impact, improve against particular challenges. Other challenges include limited resources, the pressure to prove impact, seasonal volatility, membership and donor retention, defining attendance patterns, being able to identify them very specifically, and being able to understand how to predict, and in order to be able to understand better, and where our system generates specific recommendations. These are today's reality. The overall challenge for us is, can we try to help you to be able to get to a stronger decision support system, one that's rooted in data and analytics, and something that's quite rigorous, and something that can be used over time, potentially by multiple different departments and people within the nonprofit organization. If we look at this at sort of going up maybe 1,000 feet, can we help you to develop a kind of a unified brain, a single place, just like in the human brain, where information comes together, it gets synthesized, a decision is made, and it can flow through the rest of the tech stack in the organization. So here you can see at a high level the different kinds of platforms, products, the different solutions that might exist within what the organization may be using today, or in some cases you may have outside agencies that are using these things and are supporting the organization. Can we try to unify the data, the analysis, and bring this together in a way that's going to be straightforward, can scale, and can increase visibility, potentially accountability and transparency, something that could potentially be shared both internally and, if you like, externally. But the whole goal here is high ROI. Can we take all these things together and have it result in a meaningful improvement in terms of time, as well as cost savings and improved performance? So we'd like to introduce you to MADTECH.AI. MADTECH.AI is a new platform. It unifies, transforms, analyzes, visualizes, stores, monitors, and fixes marketing and marketing-related data. John has shared with me previously that while we call ourselves marketing decision intelligence, when we bring all the data together, this is something that can clearly affect other parts of the organization, and so we want to call that out. But putting this all together in a single cost-effective AI-powered platform. Here you can see that there are 4 completely different sets of solutions that are fully integrated. Those are those 4 steps of the pyramid. And on the right-hand side, you can see very specific solutions that are built exclusively for nonprofits and for cultural attractions. It includes MDI Benchmarks, which is the evolution of KPI reporting into something that's very, very robust and with new kinds of capabilities that AI and a cloud-based solution can offer. MDI for nonprofits, which is another solution, even more complete than MDI Benchmarks. And then we have the full solution, which we call MDI for cultural attractions. Here are some key platform capabilities for MADTECHAI. I'll walk you through these very briefly. The system is built to handle first, second, and third-party data. So that means your data coming from third parties outside the organization, and it could also be data coming from partners. So first, second, and third-party data. iPaaS is what we call our data wrangling solutions. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we're going to show you very briefly what that looks like. But the goal there is to try to reduce the need for data engineering, data warehousing, taking a lot of time and very expensive execution of data handling. We have an audience module that helps you to be able to do both data hygiene and enrichment and other audience capabilities in analyzing your customer data as well as your prospect data. Marketing effectiveness. These are a whole range of models that help you to learn about how you're allocating capital within your media and marketing activity and where the performance is coming from and being able to play what if. Planning module, that's for budgeting and both at the strategic and campaign level. Hundreds of pre-built dashboards and scorecards that are AI-based. They include insights, predictions, and recommendations. Pretty exciting. We're happy to show you what that's all about. The specific AI solutions we call MADi. You can guess that the MADi name comes from the name of the platform. That's both conversational and generative AI. It allows you to be able to ask questions specifically about your organization and be able to get plain English answers back. It also gives you numbers and graphs, but it's tuned to your particular data. That's something that the system does. You don't have to do that. It also proactively brings forward analysis, predictions, recommendations that are within the data models and the dashboards that are generated, and you'll see exactly what that looks like. Marketplace is an opportunity to access third-party data and software. And finally, the opportunity to be able to use the system for activation and optimization at the campaign level. So there's a lot going on there, and we're going to talk some more about it. More specifically, we talked about the 3 particular offerings, and here you can see the breakdown of the 3. On the left is where we start from. We go to the MDI growth and MDI Suite. Each of these is designed to do something a little bit different. In the case of MDI Benchmarks, this is the evolution of KPI reporting, where the specific intention is to be able to give you benchmarks at the local, national, and at the, I should say local, regional, national level for peer organizations. Wouldn't it be nice to know how are you doing relative to your peers? Measured many different ways, very flexible format. The goal here is to be able to have each of these benchmark capabilities allow you to be able to see how are you doing relative to other organizations, and specifically as it relates to the functions that exist within your organization. MDI growth is the benchmarks plus, importantly, capabilities around handling your data, being able to ask questions of that data, pull insights from it, in addition to the data that we're providing with benchmarks. Again, lots of pre-built, pre-engineered data models and dashboards, very valuable, specific to your industry. And then insights and recommendations born of all of this information that's been pulled together. And finally, MDI Suite. MDI Suite is everything that's included in the previous 2 offerings. Now we're getting into much deeper level of data modeling capabilities, much more access to underlying insights about the individual visitors, members, donors, deeper capabilities around budgeting, planning, for example. So overall, you're going to have forecasting capability that would not be in the other two. So three different offerings. So if it's okay, what I'd like to do is to jump into the demo. And let's see if we can do that right now. So I will log in for us. This is a single sign-on, very easy access for anybody in the organization to be able to access the platform. We're in. And that's MADi. There she is. And you can see when you first log in, if you did not want to go straight to dashboards and scorecards and work on data, and instead you wanted to be able to ask specific questions of your data, you've got the ability to be able to do this in plain English language. So here's an example. So these happen to be some questions that people have asked recently. Attraction Z, by the way, is a generic cultural attraction that we're going to use as an example. But as an example, if we had typed in what is Attraction Z's total market capture, literally in just a few seconds, there's going to be an analysis of that data, and it comes back and it says total market capture is 24%. This is in comparison to the 48% market capture for the national top 25% and 26%. So as you can see, very straightforward. You have the ability to be able to ask questions, as many questions as you'd like. You're not charged on a per question basis. You can have as much data in there as you would like, many data sources. Here's another question. What is admission revenue versus membership revenue for the same institution? And there we go. The answer is admission revenue is calculated at $12 per visitor. On the membership side, average revenue per member is $325 over 5 years, with the average membership price being $142. So, and she's asking, what else would you like to do? So it's what you're used to if you've been using LLMs online, except this is very, very specific to your data and the industry and the ability to be able to query whatever you would like, when you would like. And if you're not getting the answer that you want to be able to go deeper or make changes, there are human beings that you can get in our organization that will help you. So let me go back and we'll just take a look at one more of these. What's admission revenue versus membership revenue? There you go. So let me just point out here on the right-hand side, you've got the ability at any time to be able to ask questions, get information about any of the things that we're going to see in this platform. If you have questions and you want to be able to learn more, you've got the ability to be able to do so. If there are terms that you're not familiar with, there's a large glossary of terms that allow you to be able to ask what these things mean. You can take a look at your favorite dashboards that you may have loaded, get notifications. There's your library. Those are updates. And you have the ability to be able to make requests, provide feedback, seek support. So it's always there for you on the right-hand side, very easy to access. So what I'd like to do now is to be able to take you in through what would be a typical experience. Now, for some people who have joined us, you may not be particularly involved with data wrangling. Maybe someone else in the organization is doing that. But since our experience is that data is such a challenge, we've taken some time to go ahead and build automation around the ability to ingest data. And I won't take you through step by step, but this typically takes about 3 minutes to be able to build the data pipeline. As you can see, there are many hundreds of these that we have pre-built and engineered, where it's very easy to put your account information in, tokenize access, and be able to pull data for whatever period of time that you're interested in. You can then transform the data. You can pick any 24 destinations but you may want to take advantage of the data warehouse that's included, pre-built and supported by us. No additional charge. It's an AWS data warehouse, and it's a very common, popular feature for us. You can schedule the pipeline to run as frequently as you would like. And of course, you're going to get a data hygiene report and status update, and you'll be able to track your pipelines. So this is an area where for those organizations that are really dependent on data engineers or technical people to support accessing data, we make it very, very easy. And in fact, we have several clients who have really diminished their need for that specialized talent because of this. So imagine that you've already ingested your data, and now you want to be able to take a look at specific insight about that data. So it may be that you're going to want to jump into dashboards to be able to take a look if you would like. And in particular, imagine that you're interested in that benchmarking that we talked about. Right here, you have the opportunity to click, and you're in. And in a matter of just a few seconds, we've ingested that data, not only about your institution, but also peers. And what you see spinning up on the right, imagine that you had an analyst on the team that was going to review each of these dashboards and write up an analysis of what is being shown here on the left. You've got traditional dashboards and scorecards with really great data that it's very difficult to gain elsewhere. And on the right-hand side, you can see analysis. So you've got an overview, key metrics, insights, opportunities, and recommendations. This is exportable by PDF or PowerPoint. You could put this together for example, a department head or for a board. And you can see how extensive this is. You have the ability to analyze at the summary level, taking a look at positioning, and again, on a relative basis, as well as for your own organization. This is all data that John's Culture Comp has put together in partnership with MADTECHAI, the two organizations working together to combine our capabilities and trying to make this as easy to access as possible. If you're wondering how expensive this is, I can tell you that the annual subscription is $5,000. And you can get multiple logins, if you like, for various people in the organization to be able to access this. It can be updated so that if instead of annual, you're looking for something that's more frequent, we would be pleased to talk to you about that. If you've got questions, please be sure to put them in the question box. And when we get to Q&A in a few minutes, happy to take those questions. John, how many organizations are we collecting data for and populating within the benchmark report today?
Well, annually, we're tracking 800 cultural attractions in the 100 largest markets.
That's a lot of work.
Well, you know, what I found is there's all of this talk around artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is only as good as the knowledge that that intelligence has. So I think what you and I have merged is artificial intelligence with authentic intelligence. And authentic intelligence is based on that data set that doesn't exist. You know, nobody puts this together. This data is not freely available. You have to pay for it. You have to assemble it, and then you have to put it into a format where it's becomes actionable. And so one of the things I also like about it is that we don't look at things from a single variable perspective, but rather multiple variables. So many organizations, nonprofits, and cultural attractions have a lot of challenges when goal setting, lots of times they'll goal set for individual departments and not look at what is the impact of a decision in one department, how might that impact another department. And so what I like about the benchmarks, but also then MADTECHAI's platform, is that it starts to analyze across platforms, across departments, and looks at organizational success from a whole perspective versus departmental perspective.
So while John's been speaking, as you can see, I'm taking you through various parts of the platform. When we're looking at budget, you can see that it's both at a strategic level and it can be very tactical as it relates in this case to the marketing activity. So the goal is to be able to give you a really robust set of tools. But I think, John, you're absolutely right. It's this combination of sort of deep domain expertise mixed with technical capabilities. Can't do one without the other to make this really beneficial. We have many pre-built dashboards and scorecards. In total, MADTECHAI has created literally hundreds of them. This is just a small sampling, but you can also request something to be built if you would like. We're happy to do that for you. You can also design yourself. So Dashboard Designer is an option of what's available. Now, to be clear, we are now in MDI growth, and in the overall suite, the core benchmarks, what we just saw, that's one offering. We're now into looking at the other two offerings. In the third offering meaning the suite, you begin to have much more detailed it can go extremely deep. So for example, to build marketing mix models or multi-touch attribution models, incrementality model. So for every incremental dollar that you are going to spend, what is the benefit? What's the lift out of that incremental dollar of spending, depending upon the nature of the campaign, for example, or what channels you might be putting in? What's the lifetime value of your individual members or donors? So taking a look at the creative effectiveness. What aspects of the creative make it more or less valuable? We have the opportunity to be able to look at these things where, fortunately, we're talking about things that have been built. So we're saving an awful lot of time for somebody trying to do this themselves. We have data scientists that are available to be able to support you and can customize. And for all of this, MADi is available to analyze the results. So we'll go back and take a look at a couple of these dashboards. And then we're going to jump back into your questions. If we take a look, for example, at a CMO dashboard. So here, this is a composite of multiple dashboards brought together. So in one place, you've got a chief marketing officer's look at what's going on across the organization, analyzing results by donations, by membership, revenue, attendance. For those of you that might not be in the marketing department, maybe you're in membership or finance, for example, wouldn't it be great to be able to have a more holistic view of what's going on across the organization? So these are things that we have available. They're off the shelf or they can be customized. You may be using spreadsheets or other tools today that you'd like to import into this. We're happy to do that for you. So you can see there's a breakdown of dashboards, for example, looking at individual platforms or channels. These are just a sampling. If you've got a call center that's being operated, for example, for donations or ticketing, we have the ability to pull the data from the call center, or for marketing operations. So that, in a nutshell, is MADTECHAI's platform, and very powerful. Lots. So If okay, we're going to head back to our main presentation. As we head into QA, if you'd like to reach out to either one of us, here's contact information for you. I think we're set up for QA now. John, how's that sound to you?
Does anybody have any questions?
Okay. While we are waiting for a couple of questions, before the start of this webinar, there are a couple that were sent to me, and I'm going to read those off to you. So I think first question is, what makes MDI benchmarks for cultural attractions different from traditional benchmarking reports? So let me answer that one. Most reports are what's happened. MDI benchmark for cultural attractions tells you where you might be leaving growth on the table, benchmarks your awareness, market capture, membership, leverage, digital engagement, pricing, positioning against real market potential. So the whole goal is that it shows you not just performance, but opportunity. I would say that it's a pretty distinct difference than what you could get from traditional benchmarking. John, anything you'd want to add to that?
Well, I think what traditional benchmarking shows, okay, here's what your admission price is, and here's what it compares to other organizations. That's a single variable. That doesn't really tell the whole story. So what is your attendance in relation to what you charge versus the attendance of what others charge provides additional analysis. So would you rather have 90% of your attendance but 100% of revenue opportunity, or if you price just based on benchmark pricing without understanding what attendance or market capture is, then you could be in a situation where you might maximize your attendance potential but nowhere near maximize your revenue potential. So traditional benchmarking just looks at variables in isolation, and this looks at variables in context to others.
So I've got a related question, John. If attendance is strong for cultural attraction, do you still need the benchmark capability here?
I don't know if you need the benchmark capability, but it's important to understand just because your attendance is high doesn't mean that it's optimal. And so your attendance could be high because you have high visit frequency versus high market capture. So it's important to look at, once again, attendance is what are those components of attendance? Is this GA? Is this field trips? Is this member attendance? How does that break down? And is that good or bad? But then also, once again, in relation to your market size, and then market capture. Market capture is unique capture within the marketplace. It represents one visit versus attendance can represent many visits, multiple visits. I, as a single household, could represent 15 visits. So yeah, attendance is a decent metric to be using, but it can be really misleading without attachment to other variables.
Yeah. Question that I got came in says, how is the dashboard capability in the MDI offering different from a traditional dashboard solution? And maybe that's something that I can handle. Well, first of all, if the traditional dashboard could do the job, it sure would have saved me a lot of money building this. Unfortunately for us, it really is a practitioner doing marketing and data analytics on behalf of nonprofits and cultural attractions. The traditional dashboards are extremely limited in their capabilities, not only because of the lack of the AI integration, but in particular, the need here is for sort of jobs to be done, the specific tasks that are occurring within the departments themselves. The goal here is to be able to see if we can reduce the amount of time that it takes to be able to do the analysis and to turn around answers, and to be able to play what if, to be able to very quickly say, well, if we made these changes, what would that impact be? In the case, for example, of marketing effectiveness, there's literally a what if calculator built into the model. You can change the allocation of investment in marketing activity using historical data and be able to say, well, if we spent less money, as an example, on paid search, and we put more against social, based on our historical results, how would that change the overall cost, for example, to acquire a member, or to retain a member, or to drive visitation, or let's say to maximize the value of the flow between visitation, membership, and donation? Traditional dashboards are not going to be able to provide that linkage and the easy ability to be able to play what if. Extremely labor intensive. So we tried to design something where it's straightforward for somebody who is not a Tableau expert or certified in a particular BI tool to be able to do this easily, and where we are essentially have pre-built solutions for this particular set of tasks. So pretty significant difference. And so far it seems to have worked pretty well from everything that we're seeing. John, last question for you. What immediate impact can institutions expect from the MDI Suite?
From the MDI Suite? I mean, that's, given the suite includes access to your benchmarks, you have kind of almost level set knowledge across a institution, ranging from boards all the way down to management level staff, via the dashboarding and the benchmarking, allowing people to understand, oh, we're performing at a very high level or medium level or low level. From real world application, so outside of knowledge set, it's really, I think a lot of our clients, most cultural attractions underperform because of underinvestment in marketing, or properly investment in marketing, but it's inefficient or ineffective, meaning it's either misplaced, mistargeted, or mismessaged. The marketing mix component of the suite allows an organization to understand where they should be placing that advertising to maximize performance. Most of our clients don't do that properly. And then having real world or real time monitoring of campaigns in market allows organizations to react to underperforming campaigns before the end of the campaign runs out, which is pretty traditional. So it allows organizations to recover or improve performance that they otherwise would not have. Those are two perfect examples of what Suite offers that I think are invaluable to cultural attractions or nonprofits.
I agree with you. Two quick comments here. Number one is Suite can only do what it can do if it's got the data to be able to ingest and do that analysis. So one clear observation is, don't be afraid to share the ticketing, the CRM, donor, as much data as possible. You're going to wind up with better decisions as a result of having more data and more frequently having more recent and complete data coming into the system. So I think I totally agree with what you just said, but the constraint is, if we don't get the data into the system, it's hard to take full value out of what's going on. I think the other comment that I would share here is, this system is going to get smarter and smarter and smarter as more institutions participate. We're talking about an overall growth curve where you're going to get better analysis out of more data, not only at the individual institution level, but as we do more and more work for more and more institutions. Between John's business and my own, you're talking about dozens of nonprofits and cultural institutions. And in our case, we also work with for-profit ticketing-based organizations. And I think that we can expect that there's going to be fairly profound impact. One last comment. Marketing has a tendency to overspend and underspend pretty significantly. The sooner we figure out where the challenges are, and it could be in the pricing of membership tiers, for example, or ticketing prices, or the way in which the organization is operating, the sooner we get to the things that aren't working well and fixing them, the better off the organization's going to be. And what we've learned so far is the system picks things up very, very quickly. It usually only takes anywhere from hours to days to be able to begin to see where those discrepancies are, or we would call them anomalies, and where the improvement opportunity exists. So I think this is a situation where it's a very fast payback. He said that's been our experience today. It looks like that's it for questions. John, thanks for taking the time. Love being your business partner. Looking forward to seeing how this grows. And I did want to share that if you didn't get enough of us on this, we've got another webinar coming up. On Thursday, April the 23rd at 11, we're going to very specifically focus on MDI benchmarks for cultural attractions, where we're going to do a deeper dive on that particular offering, and in particular, taking a look back at 2025 to see what are the trends, what have we learned, how benchmarks can be helpful for your institution. And again, there'll be an opportunity to be able to reach out and ask questions, but don't have to wait until Thursday, April 23rd. You should feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thank you for joining us, and feel free to share this webinar with your friends and colleagues. John, thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Bill. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.